Hi, this is Wendy Wagner, the Rooted Realtor and broker owner at Exit Global Realty. And this is Rooted in Compliance because compliance isn't scary. Today, we are talking about clear cooperation. And I want to start with the simplest way to remember it. Public marketing starts with the clock. This is one of those compliance topics that I see agents misunderstand all of the time. Some agents think that clear cooperation means every listing has to go active in the MLS the second the listing agreement is signed. That is not necessarily the point. Some agents think that a seller can just give permission to publicly market the property outside of the MLS without triggering the rule. That is not how this works either. And some agents think that posting coming soon on social media before the listing is properly handled in the MLS is no big deal. That can absolutely create a problem. So let's slow it down. Clear cooperation is an MLS policy issue. It comes from NAR's Clear Cooperation Policy. The basic rule is this: within 1 business day of marketing a property to the public, the listing broker must submit the listing to the MLS for cooperation with other MLS participants. So again, public marketing starts the clock. Now, what counts as public marketing? Public marketing may include things like yard signs, flyers, public-facing websites, brokerage website displays, IDX or VOW displays, email blasts, digital marketing, social media posts, multi-brokerage listing networks, and apps or platforms available to the general public. The exact examples and procedures can depend on your MLS rules, so always check with your local MLS. But the concept is simple. If you are putting the listing out in the public marketplace, you need to understand whether clear cooperation has been triggered. Now, let's talk about my local MLS. Here in my market, my local MLS is Stellar MLS. And Stellar MLS has added a coming soon option. That is important because coming soon can be a helpful tool when the seller wants limited pre-market exposure before the property is fully active. But coming soon is not a loophole. It is not a workaround. And it is not permission to publicly market a listing however you want before handling it correctly in the MLS. Under Stellar's Coming Soon guidance, coming soon is a pre-market status used when the property owner has directed the listing participant to market the property with limited exposure, be full market availability. A coming soon listing must be entered into Stellar MLS and must follow Stellar MLS rules. It must be clearly identified as coming soon in marketing. It requires the proper seller authorization, and it must be handled consistently with fair housing and MLS rules. So let's be clear. Coming soon is not, I'll post it now and enter it later whenever I get around to it. Coming soon is an MLS status with rules. Under Stellar's current guidance, coming soon listings may be marketed, shown, and may receive offers. But the listing must be handled correctly and the marketing must accurately reflect the coming soon status. Stellar also says coming soon is limited to a certain time period, so you need to know the timeline. And if an offer is accepted while the listing is in coming soon status, you need to know how your MLS requires the status to be updated. This is why agents should not freestyle this. Do not make up your own coming soon process on Facebook. Do not put a sign in the yard and assume that you are fine. Do not send a public email blast and assume that seller permission solves everything. Do not call something coming soon if you have not followed the MLS rules for coming soon. And do not assume another MLS handles coming soon exactly the way Stellar does, or as your MLS does. Your MLS rules matter. Your broker's policy matters. And the seller's written direction matters. Now, let's talk about seller options. Clear cooperation does not mean that sellers have no choices. A seller may have privacy concerns. A seller may not want broad public exposure right away. A property may not be ready for full public marketing. There may be options such as office exclusive, coming soon, delayed distribution, temporary exclusion, or other MLS specific options. But those options are not a free-for-all. They have rules. They require seller signed forms. They may require specific MLS entry. They may limit how the property can be marketed. They may affect IDX syndication, days on market, showings, offers, or cooperation requirements. And they may vary by MLS, and probably do. And this is not the place to guess. This is where agents need to know their MLS rules and their broker's policy before they start marketing. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest misunderstandings. A seller cannot simply say, I give you permission to post it publicly, but I don't want it in the MLS. And that automatically makes it okay. Seller instructions matter. But seller instructions do not erase MLS obligations. If the listing is publicly marketed, clear cooperation may require the listing to be submitted to the MLS within 1 business day. So, if a seller wants privacy or limited exposure, that conversation needs to happen before public marketing starts, not after the Facebook post, not after the sign goes in the yard, not after the email blast goes out, before. Because once public marketing happens, the clock may be running. Now, let's talk about office exclusives. Office exclusive listings can be a legitimate option in some situations, especially when a seller has privacy concerns. But an office exclusive generally means that the listing is kept within the listing brokerage, following MLS rules and required documentation. It does not mean that you can quietly market it to a bunch of outside agents. It does not mean that you can put it in a private multi-brokerage network. It does not mean that you can post it publicly and still call it exclusive. Once you move beyond that allowed private or internal communication and into public marketing, you may trigger clear cooperation. That is why the details matter. Who is receiving the information? Where is it being posted? Is it public? Is it internal? Is it one-to-one? Is it being shared with multiple brokerages? Is it on social media? Is it on a public website? Is there a sign? Is there an email blast? Those facts matter. Now, for clear cooperation, I am going to slightly adjust something that I say often. Usually, I say law first, broker policy second. But with clear cooperation, I would say rule first, broker policy second, because this is primarily an MLS and NAR policy issue, not a Florida statute issue. Your MLS rules are the starting point. Then your broker's policy tells you how your brokerage handles it. Your broker may require approval before using Coming Soon. Your broker may require approval before using office exclusive options. Your broker may require seller signed forms before any listing is withheld from full MLS exposure. Your broker may require specific language for Coming Soon marketing. Your broker may require MLS entry before any public advertising. Your broker may have rules about social media posts, yard signs, email blasts, private marketing, delayed distribution, and listing documentation. And your broker may have stricter policies than the MLS minimum. So agents should not say, well, I saw another agent do it. Never a good idea. That is not a compliance strategy. Do not copy what other agents are doing. Do not assume a social media post is harmless. Do not assume a seller's verbal instruction is enough. Do not assume your MLS allows the same thing another MLS allows. And do not assume that public marketing means only websites. Public marketing can happen in a lot of different ways. A yard sign can be public marketing. A flyer can be public marketing. A public-facing website can be public marketing. A social media post can be public marketing. An email blast can be public marketing. A multi-brokerage private listing network can be public marketing under the rule. That is why the safe question is not, can I get away with this? The better question is, has public marketing started? And if the answer is yes, then you need to know what your MLS requires and how quickly you need to act. In many cases, that answer is 1 business day. And business day matters. 1 business day does not always mean 24 hours. Weekends and holidays may be treated differently under your MLS rules. So again, check your MLS, check your broker, and document the file. Now, why does this rule exist? Clear cooperation is about cooperation. It is about transparency. It is about making sure listings that are being marketed to the public are also shared with other MLS participants so that buyers and their agents have access to the information. It supports a more open marketplace. It helps avoid hidden inventory. And it helps reduce confusion about who knew what when the property was available and whether the listing was properly exposed. And Coming Soon, when used properly, can fit within that system. It allows a seller to have limited pre-market exposure while still keeping the listing inside the MLS process and visible to cooperating agents according to the MLS rules. But it must be used correctly. It must be documented correctly. It must be marketed accurately. And it must be handled fairly and consistently. So the takeaway is simple. If you are going to publicly market a listing, understand clear cooperation before you post, advertise, email, sign, or share. If you are using Coming Soon, understand your MLS Coming Soon rules before you market. Know what your MLS considers public marketing. Know your MLS timeline. Know your seller documentation requirements. Know your brokerage policy. And when in doubt, check with your broker before you market. This video is for educational purposes only and is not legal advice. MLS rules, NAR policy, brokerage policy, seller instructions, fair housing obligations, local procedures, and the specific facts of the listing all matter. So always check your MLS rules, your brokerage procedures, and your broker before making marketing decisions. Compliance is not about making real estate scary. It's about creating clarity. And clarity protects the seller, the agent, the broker, and the marketplace. Comment clear if you want more simple compliance breakdowns like this. Next week, we're going to be talking about procuring cause basics. I'm Wendy Wagner, and this has been Rooted in Compliance, because compliance isn't scary. Stay rooted, think global, grow together. Rooted Realtor out.